When in Rome, Chapter 8. In front of an old gate between two stone pillars, there were people stepping down a tour bus and greeted by a woman with a friendly face. She looked in her 20s and was wearing a floral-designed chiffon dress with bare shoulders and skirt hanging down to her mid-calf. While she was waiting for all of them to get off the vehicle, she reached the top of her head and adjusted her headphone and then the microphone along left side of her cheek. And finally, the voice amplifier that's hanging down from her neck. She took a deep breath and waved at these visitors of various ages to gather in front of her. Ciao, everybody. Welcome to the Castle Adescalchi. My name is Natasha. I'm your tour guide for the next 30 minutes. She lifted her eyebrows and asked, "Now, before we begin this tour, are there any questions?" Someone in the back shouted, "Yeah, where's the restroom?" She smiled. "Follow me." It was the usual procedure to get them comfortable before the tour began. Otherwise, there would be interruptions which would make this whole process choppy, and she ended up with bad reviews. She led them to the soda machine as well. Relieved and refreshed were the look of their faces moments later, as they gathered and she led them back to the pathway in front of the castle. Built in the 15th century, the castle at Adescalchi was established as a protection for this seaside town, which back then was just a small village. It was originally the property of Lords de Vico, and then it was handed down to the Agrarella Orsini, and then the monks of the Hospital of the Holy Spirit in Sassia. In 1887, Prince Baldassare Odescalchi bought it in an auction, and ever since the castle and the town of Santa Marinella expanded. These days, the castle is used as a venue for events, weddings, and conventions. Unfortunately, we can't go inside today due to an event occurring, but we certainly can take a stroll in the park surrounding this castle. There was a murmur in the crowd that sounded disappointing. Natasha pretended not to notice and quickly led them to the greenery. This park was designed between the late 19th century to early 20th century. As you can see, we have huge palm trees that includes, she looked up and so did the crowd, what is called maritime pines. There are other variety of pine trees surrounding this area, as well as Mediterranean bushes that include privet, olive trees, and petosoru. After spending the rest of the tour browsing the garden, Natasha led them to the ocean view terrace that stretches across the castle. She quietly awaits for the crowd to take pictures of the sea and the marina called Porto Adescalchi, surrounding the castle to its left. And as they follow her onto the walkway of the marina, she waved at the shuttle bus to come forward, while they stood by the curb next to a line of sailboats. Natasha faced them with a smile and said, "I hope you enjoyed this tour, and thank you for visiting." And suddenly there was a female voice screaming in the distance, followed by a vision of a man running with a bag in his hand. "Stop him! Stop him!" she screamed while chasing after him along the walkway adjacent to where the tourists were standing. Everyone froze and watched the thief running into the parking lot and jump on into the van. A couple of men from the group went after him, and so did a few other people that popped out a few sailboats and a nearby restaurant. But they reached only to the edge of the lot just out of curiosity to see what was going on. By the time Antonio pulled into the parking lot of Porto Adescalchi, the crowd already dissipated, leaving only 3 people that include the 2 men that went after the van. and the victim, who appeared to be in a state of shock, and shivered as she said, "My husband is going to kill me. It was a Birkin." "Calm down, madam," said Antonio, who led her and the other two to the outdoor restaurant and stood under the awning away from the high noon sun. The two men looked like father and son, and both had crew-cut hair, and they seemed eager to inform the officer. And before they were even asked, the one looked like the father spoke. "Yeah, we went after the van, but it took off before we got close." "Did you get a chance to see the license plate number?" Antonio asked. "No, but for sure it's an OVW." "What color was it?" "It's mint green. No bumper in the back, a missing hubcap on the left side, and a cracked window in the back." "Anything else?" "There appears to be a few people in the vehicle." "How many?" "I'm not sure, maybe 3 or 4. "Thank you. Were you part of the group in that shuttle bus that just passed?" "Yeah, but that's okay. Our hotel is about a couple of blocks away." "Thanks again," said Antonio. "Yes, thank you for trying," said the woman. The two men left, leaving just the officer and the woman in distress. She was still shivering, and her voice was still shaking when she proceeded to tell him how it happened. "It was just walking down this path, and I noticed a young man approach and talk over my head to somebody behind me. He was hollering at him as if they know each other. Suddenly I felt a pull behind me, and my bag was gone. I saw him running toward the parking lot, while the other guy disappeared in the parked boat." Antonio wrote down the color, the name, and the approximate size, and the content. And when she told him the value of the bag, he froze for a second before writing it down. He said to her, "We will do our best, and if something comes up, is there a number we can contact you?" "Yes," she replied, and gave him the number. "Is your bag insured?" "Of course." "Good. Please stop by the department in 24 hours to pick up the police report so you can show it to your insurance company." "What are the chances to see my bag again?" "To be honest, they can easily take off of their hand really quick, but you never know." As a courtesy, Antonio walked the woman to her car, her Porsche, while thinking she could easily get another one. And as he got back to his vehicle, he thought how much he missed his old job as an investigator back in Rome.